Hey everyone, this is Mike Troxel. This is Journey Through Proverbs. I study in the book of Proverbs specifically to uncover some valuable principles and that will help you in your finance, your relationships, in your career. So today we're going to be in Proverbs chapter 6, verse 1 through 5. This is very interesting. This has to do with lending and our financial choices and our relationships as well. So Proverbs 6, 1 through 5. My child, if you have put up security for a friend's debt or agreed to guarantee the debt of a stranger, if you have trapped yourself by your agreement and are caught by what you said. Now, before we look at anything else, this is very interesting what this passage here in Proverbs is saying, that Solomon is telling us, absolutely don't put up debt for somebody else, put up security for someone else's debt, or co-sign is our common modern term that we use to co-sign on a debt. So he says that we really shouldn't do that it's a very bad idea. Here's a few reasons why it is a bad idea. Having had experience in lending and dealing with customers on a number of areas, so consumer lending in terms of credit cards, store finance, vehicle, auto loans, all of that, as well as mortgage loans. So in that range of experience, I've seen a bunch of people who they co-sign for their child or a friend or a niece or a nephew or a brother or a sister, and they co-sign for them so they can get a loan because their credit's either whacked or they don't have any credit established yet. And so when they co-sign for them, they're putting their own credit to vouch for, to make it possible that loan for this family member, this friend. But here's the problem. So when you do that and you sign as a co-signer, if that individual fails to pay the debt, you are fully liable for the debt. Now, they will go after that individual, but they're going to go after you as well, and they'll sue both of you and destroy both of your credit. So you will be responsible to pay that debt when the family member or friend doesn't. But I've watched it many times where individuals would co-sign. The person who had got the loan that was co-signed for, they didn't pay the debt. They lost their job. They decided to change careers. They went back to school. They just decided to flake. A whole range of reasons why they didn't end up paying the debt. And then the individual who had co-signed for them so they could get a loan, they end up being stuck with the bill, and their credit is damaged. They're financially strapped already, and then to add on to it that additional payment, it just creates stress. So it creates stress for them personally, financially, but then it creates stress in that relationship, and it ruins relationships. I have watched that numerous times where people's relationship with that family member or friend are completely destroyed as a result, and it creates a lot of ill will. And I've had to come in and try to help people work through some of those situations as a coach, and to help them to find solutions for their problem with this. So here is one of the important things that Solomon is saying: do not co-sign, put up your house, your car, your bank account, your life insurance, or any other of your assets for security for someone else's debt. So maybe it's for a business loan, and they can't get the business loan because they don't have enough assets to help the bank feel comfortable to make that loan. Their risk is too high, and so they want your assets to lower the risk for the lender. So Proverbs is saying don't do it. In fact, he says in verse 3, follow my advice if you got yourself caught in this kind of situation. Follow my advice and save yourself, for you have placed yourself at your friend's mercy. And that's what I was saying. If they choose to default, if they choose to be irresponsible, then you are at their mercy, hoping that they're going to fulfill their responsibility and promise. And it would be really great if that was really true. We could depend on other people to fulfill their promises. But in reality, you have to plan as though they won't and hope that they do at the same time. So it's very important that you follow this advice. Now, here's what he says. Now, swallow your pride. Go and beg to have your name erased. I thought it was actually funny when I read Solomon's advice. Maybe that would have worked in his day, but there are very few lenders, no matter how much you plead and beg and grovel at their feet, are going to be willing to take your name off the loan that you co-signed for and place your assets as the guarantee for that loan to be paid. Because if your assets were needed to get a loan for somebody else, then they have a pretty good indication that person is not going to pay. They're going to default, which means there's no way they're going to let you out of your responsibility for what you co-signed for. So you can try it. You can plead and beg. I have never actually seen it happen. I'm sure that it's probably happened. I've just not personally seen it. Don't put it off, he says. Do it now. Don't rest until you do. Save yourself like a gazelle escaping from a hunter, like a bird fleeing from a net. So while you may not be able to get your name off once you've already been signed on and your assets have been pledged, this is what he really is getting to. Don't ever do it. And that was what he said in the verse 1 and 2, is that do not pledge your assets. Do not sign for another person's debt, because you are at their mercy when you do that. You no longer are in control of your finances. You're now put the control in somebody else, driving the car of your life and your experience and your stress level. And that's really not worth it. So he says, flee like a gazelle who is escaping from a hunter, like a bird that's fleeing from a net. How do they do that? They fly and run as fast as they can to get out of there as fast as they can. And that's exactly what you should do when someone tries to get you to co-sign for them, is to run as fast as you can, get away, stay away, and don't have anything to do with it. That's my little word today from Proverbs chapter 6, 1 through 5. A valuable passage. It'll save you an enormous amount of headache, both financially and relationally. And you know what? The long-term salvage of your finances and your relationship with that person is worth the short-term pain of telling someone, no, I cannot help you. I will not co-sign for you. Yes, it's difficult to do that. Yes, it's hard to say that to a child or a sibling or a good friend or a parent or whoever it is. But the short-term pain is worth saving in the long term that relationship and your personal financial situation. So that's all now. I hope you'll subscribe and like my channel, and I wish you the best. God bless.